30 days, 8 hours, 7 minutes, and 3 seconds. At the time of this being recorded, that's how much time until Temtem finally goes live on early access. So, together, let's kill some of that time because, let's be honest, what else do we have to do? So, in this video, I compiled a list of 8 reasons you should be hyped about Temtem. Before that though, if you want to see more content like this and you're just as hyped about Temtem as I am, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. And let's get right into this. Co-op was a feature added in the latest patch of the game, and will bring a whole new perspective to play from. You're now able to play through the entire story from start to finish with your friend. Let's say you run into a problem where you already started the game, but one of your friends just picked it up and they want to play with you. Well, don't worry, that's covered. It'll automatically go to the person with the least progress in the story. Along with this, co-op makes each player have 3 Temtem instead of 6. This makes you rely more on working together, on who to target, and adds more depth to the PvE in general. There's not really a reason to hate on co-op, because if you want to do solo, you still have that option, so it's only really a positive thing. Alright, for the list, we're just going to keep doing the features, and then later on we're going to get to the more broad stuff. Now currently, housing isn't actually in the game, but it's been promised by Crema. I would say this is one of the many things that'll be added post early access. Housing is just such a great idea for many reasons. Not only does it add stuff to do in the end game, but I could see people now holding little community competitions to see who can have the best furniture in a house and stuff like that. Now this isn't actually confirmed, but I think it would be cool if maybe you can grow plants in your house and feed them to your Temtem and make them level up, or maybe get better TVs and stuff like that. That would be a pretty cool feature. There's just so many things they could add to housing. It's really exciting to think about. Leave a comment in the section below of some ideas you have about this. Hey, you never know, maybe the devs will see this and put it in the game. Now this is probably the most hype feature on the list for me personally. So if you don't know what a club is, basically it's like a guild system from any other MMO. You'll be able to make a club, have a custom name and image for it, and also have an internal chat so you can talk to other club members inside the chat. But what really makes this feature hype is the special events. In specific time frames, any club will be able to conquer a special dojo, which is like Pokemon's equivalent to a gym. What's cool about this is that these special dojos are owned by another clan, meaning that it's kind of like a King of the Hill style clan battle, where you're battling to take over that dojo. If you're able to get into one of the clans currently controlling the dojo, you'll be able to change things and make it unique to your club. It's important to note though that there's only one special dojo per island, and right now there's only 3 islands in the game, so yeah, that's about all we know about clubs. I'll make sure to keep you guys updated on it though. I mean, who didn't see this one coming? How could I make a video hyping up Temtem without talking about competitive? Well, don't worry, I'm not that stupid. If you're relatively new to the game, you might not know what competitive is, so I'll give you a short summary of what it is. So, before you get into a game, players will have to compile a list of 8 Temtem you want on your competitive squad. After when you find a match, you and your opponent will go into a pick and ban phase where each player will take turns banning each other's Temtem. Eventually, each player will have 5 Temtem each and will then go into battle. Competitive already has been a huge part of the game and has so much more potential to grow and actually make a scene around itself. For over a year now, alpha testers have been debating amongst each other on what the meta is, what Temtem are best, or techniques. This is guaranteed to be a major part of Temtem as a whole. There are so many ways to craft your perfect competitive team, like breeding, getting Lumas, TV training, etc. It's going to be crazy when everybody finally gets their hands on the game, and we get to see who the best are throughout tournaments and stuff like that. And while this is happening, the meta will constantly be evolving, especially because there's at least going to be 161. That's double the amount currently we have Temtem to catch at launch. But yeah, if you're getting the game at early access or you already have it, definitely keep your eyes on the competitive scene. It might be something that you're interested in. If you don't know much about Temtem, Lumas are basically the game's equivalent to shinies in Pokemon. Currently, you have a 1 in 6,000 chance of encountering a Luma in the wild. I expect this feature to be a very important part of the game's economy. And with Temtem being an MMO and the option to have a Temtem by your side, it's basically asking you to show off your Luma to everyone else. If you're willing to put in the amount of hours it takes to find one, of course. Lumas don't only change the color of your Temtem though, it also improves their stats. It is guaranteed to give you at least 3 perfect SVs. By the way, if you don't know the terminology of SVs and TVs, I plan on making a video like that in the future, so if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you know when that video goes live. I'm gonna start selling out now. Another feature that has a lot of potential for players to sink a lot of time into, are you starting to see a pattern here? Ah yes, one of the cornerstones of creature collecting games. Of course, I'm talking about breeding. Now, I plan on making an in-depth video later on, but to be honest with you, this seems really confusing at first glance, so I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. So, only Temtem that share a type can breed. For example, let's say both are a fire type, and every time a Temtem breeds, their fertility goes down. When their fertility runs out, the Temtem can't breed anymore. The child of the 2 parents will inherit the lower of the 2 fertility rates. For example, let's say a parent has a fertility of 6 and another has a fertility of 14. The child would inherit the lower one, so in this case it would inherit the 6. The child can also inherit SVs, which are basically their genes. There's a 40% chance to be either higher or lower of the SV for each trait, and a 20% chance to be lower than both. So you can see on the SVs for the Genki, it's showing all the possibilities that it can have, with the best case scenario, for example stamina, being 50, but the worst case scenario being worse than both the parents and being 10. There are tons of other stuff like this in inheritance and breeding, but again, I want to make a more in-depth video later on, so yeah, keep your eyes out for that. I don't know how, but I swear I almost forgot to put this one on the list. Thankfully though, I didn't. Character creation was a huge eye-catcher for me when I first saw the early access trailer. Like, there's a guy walking around in that one Fortnite skin, and then it turns into an anime girl. If that doesn't show variety and customization, I don't know what does. In all seriousness though, the character creation looks to have a solid amount of options. There's always also the in-game cosmetic shop where you can save up for your favorite outfit or anything with the in-game currency. There's a pretty good amount of options here. You have the head, top, bottom, set, bag, and you have dyes also. If you want to look through all those things and all the options you'll be able to have at launch, I'll leave a link to the wiki in the description below. Alright, now finally we're on to the last one, number 8, and that is going to be that Temtem is coming on every single major platform. If you missed it, that countdown at the start of the video was referencing the early access release. Now that will only be accessible for PC players, but when the game fully actually releases in 2021, it'll be accessible to PS4, Xbox, and Switch. This is pretty big news because it brings so many more eyes to the game, and when the game finally does come out, there's going to be so many more players coming into the community. But yeah, this one's going to be short, but in return, I'm going to do a bunch of rapid fire extra ones that I could have added, but I was too lazy to talk about them. But yeah, that's really going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. Oh, and shout out to Zorant for letting me use his gameplay in the background.